Hey,
Hello.
good afternoon, good morning out there on the West
Yes.
Coast. See this? We moved from all of our East Coast friends in the morning now. Now we're bringing in the folks on the West Coast. Thank you so much for agreeing to
Yeah.
join us here today.
Yeah.
Um,
So any guesses what my hat is? MSY
MSY. No. MSY.
points to whoever can figure it out.
So
I'll give you a hint.
go for it.
Name. It's a name of an airport,
Oh my gosh. I don't know my airport codes. Now I'm gonna have to go Google for airport codes.
and it actually begins with an N.
With an
And
N?
another hint, an N. Yes, because you can't have an airport code that begins with an N because November is reserved for naval bases.
Ashley says New Orleans.
New Orleans,
Oh, there you go. Hold on.
Moisson Salt Yard.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
It's named after a famous French pioneer in aviation, and yeah, so they named it after him.
All right, I got to
Or
switch
where?
hats. New hat for this hour. There we go. And I've got even a
Okay,
little reflection from my green screen on it. That looks weird. All right, going to my Overwatch hat, my Philadelphia Fusion won in professional Overwatch. That sounds weird. Professional Overwatch playing last night. So, um, gosh, I was talking just a few seconds ago about how amazing you are with Git and what a guru you are with this topic. Can you give folks a quick introduction as to who you are before we get
yeah,
into some of the topic here?
yeah, yeah. So my name is Sara Ford. I'm back in Microsoft. I was originally on the Visual Studio team, and then I was the PM for Coplex, and then we moved down to the Bay Area. It's been about 8 years down here and just did some various different things as one does in the Bay Area in tech. And then was at GitHub. And I get to say that I was the only person in the world who started an open source project hosting site at one company and helped shut it down at another. So I'm like, I brought Coplex into this world. I was going to take it out. And yeah, so and then I started blogging. I was trying to blog every single day last year about getting GitHub, but from the point of view of a Windows user,
Mm.
and especially from the point of view of someone having to unlearn a previous source control versioning system. And because what I've noticed is that a lot of people who are just a lot of people now in tech have only used Git, so they don't have to unlearn. And a lot of the materials that's teaching is from the point of view of like you're coming from a fresh start. You don't have the the issue of transfer. It's kind of like if you've ever like, for example, like I used to play soccer a lot, but
Okay.
then I started doing karate. And I had the problem of I would literally go to kick the soccer ball and I would do a front snap kick instead, and the ball would literally run like roll under my foot because that's
Okay.
the problem of knowledge transfer. It's actually harder to learn a new skill if it overlaps.
You
And
almost
I
have
think
to unlearn
you
that
have to
previous
unlearn.
skill.
Yes.
Okay.
And so it takes a much it actually takes longer than if you're just starting off from scratch. And so that's what I was trying to do last year. I was trying before I came back to Microsoft. I was trying to figure out, okay, what does it mean to unlearn, and
Mm.
so that you can relearn something like Git. And that's what I was kind of dabbling with.
So now, one of our friends in the chat room here, Meat Popsicle, is pointing out you had the greatest Visual Studio tips back in the
Yes,
day. But
I will always be giving out Visual Studio tips to the
and I
end of
and I
time.
love the .NET Fringe shirt. I've got my
Oh yeah,
.NET
yeah, yeah.
bot shirt going
Uh,
here. But the
newbie question. How do I see what you're seeing? I forgot
oh my
how.
gosh, I forgot to share my screen back to you. Hang
Okay,
on.
thank you.
Let
Whew,
me
I
share
thought
that
it was me.
over. Let me share that over. And then I should share. And that one's on me. And then I should share over. You can get to, uh, right there comes the
Yeah,
screen.
there you
There you
are.
go. Here I am. Hello.
Yay.
And if you wanted to go and open twitch.tv on a separate screen, you can do that, but you'll see it here when I start sharing my screen in a bit.
Oh, okay. Okay. Nope, I'm all good.
Yeah, and you just missed the trolls that came in and invaded for a little bit. That was fun.
Okay.
Noob. Thanks, Belgian Rob. Yes, okay. You know what? I'm controlling a lot of things here. All right, we're making it happen. It's we're 4 hours into the event here. All right.
I have to say, you're doing a 9-hour marathon. I thought I had energy.
it's It's fun, and I'm flattered by all the folks that we have joining us today. I'm thrilled with some of the folks that are joining us. You know, getting you to join us. When I first had the idea of, hey, I want to do this getting started with C# workshop and really cover a bunch of features, at different levels. Someone said, "Can you talk about Git for a little bit, because I don't know source control too well," and I thought, I know I can bring in somebody who's really good at that. I reached out to you, and I was thrilled that you were like, absolutely, let's do this. So I'm
No worries.
this is good. Now, in the chat room, I don't know if you want to take a look at this first. Our friend Steve Smith, who joined us about an hour ago, says he's got a pull request with some features for the notes on the workshop. Do we want to look at pull requests to start, or do we want to wait and look at that a little bit later?
Let's look later, because
Okay.
I also submitted a pull request with the notes that I added that we're going to talk about in the next hour.
Okay. And they're saying, Coding with Loose says that your talk at Build was legendary.
Aw.
It was scored very well, yes.
Thanks again, Jeff, for having me there.
So let's I don't have my expert hat on. No, I'm this is good. We're all right. Let's go over to the code now. You had some demos and things that you wanted to show to help us get started learning Git.
Right.
So let me switch over to my edit view here. There we go. So there's Sarah up in the top right. And now you can see some of our friends here. Let me center
I can see
your
I only have my laptop window, so now I can see the chats.
All right. So there was a website that, well, you tell me, how would you like to start?
Okay, yeah, I figured what I could do is tell you some of the, like, have you drive to use a Microsoft terminology. I'll tell you kind of like the true pair programming as I understand it. One person talks, the other one person types.
Drives,
so
yes. Keyboard monkey, here I go.
All right. So yeah, let's actually go to the pull request first, and then we'll come back to it later how I set all this up. But go to added links for Git Basics, just because the links are in there.
Okay.
And
I'll go into the files changed, and then oh wow, you've got a bunch of really good links here that we'll
so
share.
Maybe we can just start from the top. And okay, there's an animated.
There's Steve.
Jeff. Okay. Okay, so the first one, and this is just an FYI for people. So let me start here. I've noticed that when people say, "Hey, teach me Git," or "I want to learn more about Git," it's almost the equivalent of "teach me math," because there's so much. And I have a math degree, and so it's kind of like, are you looking at algebra? Are you looking at calculus? Are you looking at the math that numbers disappear? Because you can even divide by zero when you get into higher level math. And that's what I think about it when people say, "Hey, I want to learn about Git." Everyone is coming in at a different point in their knowledge base. And
I came in from Visual Source Safe back in the day. Now I'm showing my age, right? But it's different.
Yeah, it depends on what you're coming in at and what you want to learn. And what I wanted to tell the viewers is, look, we have a pull request out there. Here are all the links. What you're going to see from me or from us in the next hour is, I'm not going to start at the basics, the very, very basics. I'm going to assume that you've seen something about Git Commit, like you've seen some of the commands before. So I'm not starting off at the very, very beginning. What I want to show is these were my light bulb moments when I was learning Git in GitHub only after I joined GitHub. And what I wish I could go back in time and tell myself. Okay. And so if this is not for you, don't like the information is out there. You can always come back. But I want to just set the context of, this is what I wish I could go back in time and tell myself. So I'm assuming a little bit like you've played with Git at least once before.
You know how to commit.
Yeah. But I have a couple of really great things that I want to make sure people know that really just, like, again, light bulb moment. Okay. And but just to go over that list, I really, really, really like the book Git for Humans. That's the first link up there.
Okay.
And the reason why I like this book is that it's a narrative style. And instead of it being more of a textbook, it's more of like a narrative. It's your first day at the office. You come in, so it's kind of like that style. And as it tells this narrative, it tells the commands to use along the way. And it's the only book I've seen that's taken that approach. And so I thought that was pretty neat. So that might be something to check out versus going to Git Pro Git 2, whatever the Scott Cohen book is. But yeah, so I like that. That's a good one. And then GitHub cheat sheet. If you don't have this cheat sheet printed out, do so now. It will save you so much time.
And let me open that. That sounds extremely valuable.
Have you seen this before?
You know what? I thought I saw this printed out at a conference or something.
Like when I was at GitHub, like we would have when I was there at the booths, we would just hand these out. But you could just go print out the PDF. It's really helpful. And yeah, so let's go back to the list. So I want to make sure everyone knows that. Okay.
Sure. There we go.
All right. So okay. 2 things to know about Git, and I'll just tell you now, or the 2, if I could go back in time, there's only 2 things I would tell myself. The first one is this visualization tool, and the second one is Git Rough Log, REFLOG, which you'll see after this. Like we'll talk about that afterwards. But those are the 2 things. So if you already know this, then this might be not as exciting, but if you haven't heard about either this visualization tool or Git Rough Log, then yeah, you definitely want to hang out for the next whatever time we have left.
Oh yeah, all right.
45 minutes. Okay, so fire up the Git visualization tool.
All right, let's go to that location. Open a new tab. Here we go.
Oh yeah, and for the person who commented about my build talk, I actually got that book framed. You can actually get a book framed. Who knew? But I did it.
and yes, we did hit 2,000 followers, and we banned some of those folks that were coming in that were the flood. Very cool that we got to 2,000, and looks like we're going to be scheduling another workshop. All right. So this is the visualization tool, and it's kind of hiding behind me there.
Yeah.
Let's resize just
all right, perfect.
bit.
Yeah. And if you have to refresh, yeah. Okay. So here, for those who know a little bit more about Git, this tool does not have the concept of a working directory. So if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. The idea of this tool is just to visualize what is going on with Git, because like I said at the beginning, if you already are coming from an established pattern of using source control, you have to shatter those expectations. And I think using these visualization tools will go a long way. So I want you to type in Git Commit, and the command is like in the little bottom.
All right, so it's right there, right next to me.
And do another one.
Do another one. All right.
Git Commit.
So we're quickly creating these dots here in the middle of the visualizer.
And so for the record, it would be like git add dot git commit with a message. But again, we're just trying to visualize what is happening. And so now do a git log.
All right.
And this tool was actually created by developers on the Electron team at GitHub. And it is an open source project. And I have a link to the repository in that list in the pull request.
Okay.
All right. So now let's say that you want to create a new branch. So let's do git checkout
-B, right?
-B, and call it feature.
All right, feature.
Yeah. And now do git commit.
All right.
And now you can see that there's a pointer called head that's pointing to the feature branch. And if you do a git log real fast for me.
Sure.
And then you can see in the log to the left, because normally you would be in the terminal, and you would your only visualization really would be what you're seeing in these logs. And so if you do a git checkout master.
All right, so git checkout master.
And now do a
so my head moved.
Yes. So now you're in the master branch, and then do a git log again, just to kind of like so people can see the visualization alongside.
All right. So
Okay, so
now I
now
only see I only
two.
see 3 commits.
Right. And so the thing about Git that really I wish someone could have just like before you learn anything about it, you have to know that Git is all about storing the deltas. It's all about the diffs. Like what has changed in this commit. It doesn't save the entire like in our previous lives, it doesn't save all the files. These are just the changes that occurred in that commit. And it's
So
just so important to know that.
to relate that back to where we were with the pull request, all it's saving in this case
Is
is
that.
really
Yeah.
these 7 lines that have the plus next to it,
Yes, exactly.
not the
Exactly.
version of the file, but that
Or the entire snapshot of the tree at that time.
yeah, it's just these 7 lines that it's saving. Okay,
Yeah. So now if you go back to like
yeah,
to
yeah.
the tool, like that's why it's one of the things I had to realize is that branches are lightweight operations because it's only saving the diffs. It's
Those
not a
7
complete.
lines.
Yeah, it's not a complete copy and paste of the entire tree like you would have to know. It's so much more lightweight because it's like it encourages branching,
Oh my
whereas before
gosh.
you might have been like penalized because of a slow internet connection or not all the files like were synced or whatever it was in our previous lives that kept us from wanting to do branches. And yet it's actually encouraged and rewarded because it's such an easy operation.
In Subversion, I remember having branches that were complete copies of the entire tree hanging out there, and it took up so much disk space, and
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
painful to use.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then okay, and then let's do so now we know we're at master. So do a git commit here.
all right. Well, now
And
I'm
now
somewhere else.
right. And so here you can let's say like we needed to merge a feature like you're done with your feature work and you want to get the feature work back into master, which is a very common scenario.
Right.
So usually what you would do is a merge. So here you could check out feature.
All right. Git checkout feature. Oops. Wait a sec. Wait a sec. Capital F. There we go. All right.
Yeah,
So I saw
like,
head move down. So now I'm
oh,
pointing.
wait, okay, which way am I going? Um, it's
We're
too early.
merging.
No, I'm 3 hours ahead of you. So git merge into. I always have to do the English. Git merge current branch. Git merge this branch into my current branch. So git merge. Oh yeah, actually, which way do I want to go? Well, anyway, so do a git merge.
Do we
Git
want to
merge master.
Okay.
I
So
think I'm
that'll
going the
merge.
wrong direction. Someone can.
That'll merge master into feature so that it ends up with the same stuff
Yeah.
in feature. So I get this weird triangle now.
Yeah, and so like maybe I meant to go the actually yeah, I want to go the other way. So other way. I've not had my coffee yet. You can actually in this visualization tool do undo.
Undo.
And so it's like, okay, we didn't it's like that is not a git command. That is a visualization tool command.
Okay.
So here, git checkout master.
All right. Git checkout master. All right. So now I'm up top. I'm on master.
Yeah. Now git merge feature.
All right. Let's do that one.
Because you want to merge feature into the master branch.
Now I've got a cool parallelogram.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And yeah, so now.
And this is the typical work that I do here on stream is, I go off and say, all right, today we're going to go work on feature X, and I have this little feature branch, and we go build on it a little bit, and then when I'm done, I merge it back into that development branch.
No, and so the thing with this is notice that it's pointing to both places.
Right, to this 756 and 79C, right?
Yeah. So now do an undo again.
All right.
Because I just want to compare to rebase.
Okay.
And now do git checkout feature. So used to doing this from the command line. Like looking at it's been a while since I've looked at the visualization tool to know which way to go. Now do git rebase master because you're rebasing feature onto master.
Okay. Now look at this. Whoa. All right.
And so now, okay, so one of the things with Git you're going to hear a lot about is safe versus destructive commands. So a safe command is one that does not change history. So
Okay.
like before, you saw with the with merge that the history was the same because it pointed to both commits. Whereas this rebase, notice that the 79C
This one here with the
79DB,
dots.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's gone now,
Okay.
right?
So
Because from
that's
the history, it's gone from history. But because now look at B28 is now pointing to this is a new one and it's pointing to master. So this is when they say rebase. You can rebase locally up until the point that you push. Because once you push and someone else is going to be joining you, you can't change. You don't want to change history. It's a pain to clean it up. And so when you hear that, this is what it's doing. This is the visualization of, look, that commit disappeared from history and became a new commit because it has to have a new parent. Before, the parent was those two previous things. Now there's a new parent, and that's why the history has changed. So the goal, like kind of like the golden rule, and maybe there's a better way to phrase it, but you can rebase locally, but as soon as you push, you have to then stick to merges.
cool. Thank you for the subscription, Mr. Byte TV. I'm going to match that, and we're going to donate it to Girl Develop It to support women and underserved minorities to be able to learn how to code, just like Sarah and I are doing here on stream. So thanks so much for your support, Mr. Byte TV, and you're going to get a C# bot emote that you can use in our chat room. Now, Brendan's pointing out, I think where you wanted to go next, that we can actually save this older version here.
Yeah, so let's jump so right now, so let's say like which way do I want to do this? Okay, we're going to do my real world, how I like why. So yeah, another thing I wish I could go back in time is tell myself, do not just try to wing it in learning Git. You have to actually take a class. Because if
Yeah.
you try to wing it, you're going to be like me, throw the coffee cup across the room and say, that's it, I quit, and never going to want to touch a keyboard again until an hour goes by and you're like, oh, I'm stubborn and I want to figure out problems.
You're going to blow the
So
steam off, yes.
yes. So let's do Git checkout that first commit E137.
All the way back at the beginning.
Yes. And so I did this once because I thought I forgot to check out master, and I checked out the commit ID because I was looking at the log and I wanted to go back to a point in time. And so I did a git log. So do git log.
Let's do that. Git log. But I'm all the way at the beginning.
I freaked out because I thought all my code was gone. I thought all my code was gone. I was so angry beyond belief. But that was not the coffee mug. That was another one. But I'll get to. But yeah, I was just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Where did my code go?
Yeah, this is where you get the scary, oh no, you're in the detached head state. And yeah, and so if you have never played with Git, you're going to be freaking out. Like, what did I do wrong? And here in the visualization tool, you see nothing's moved, nothing's changed.
But that detached head is scary sounding.
Yeah, because you're just like, oh no, like that's something, like I've broken something. So here, if you ever get into the detached head state and you don't see like your commits, you can always do git checkout master, for example. Okay. And then world will be good again because you git checkout master.
And it moves.
And then and then if you do a git log again, you see.
And there's all my work.
And then at the top of the hour, I said there were two things that I wish I could, besides say, hey, take a course, don't try to wing it. I wish I would have known this visualization tool to just get comfortable with some of the commands. But also the second thing is Git Rough Log. So type in Git and then Rough Log.
Okay. When we were practicing and looking at this, I hadn't seen this before, and this is like revolutionary for me. I'm like, whoa.
And I felt so bad. I didn't say it at the time to you, Jeff, but I felt so bad because I went, what? You don't know about Git Rough Log? As in, I was saying it as in, wait, I figured that you knew a ton more about Git than I did. And I always hate when people say, like, what? You don't know about something? And because it's like, there's so much that we all don't know because it all changes so much. So my bad.
See these thumbs? That's all I have for Git is two thumbs I am all thumbs, and I know just enough to be dangerous.
Yeah, so it was more of the, I was trying to say, I'm so happy I could share this with you so that
Oh
I
my
can improve
gosh.
the quality of your life. So
Yes,
Git Rough
please.
Log. So Git Rough Log is the true history of everything you've done in Git. And I can't remember, it's 60 days or 90 days, but basically these are all your commits. These are
Okay.
all those dips that have occurred.
These are the
And
changes. It's not
yeah.
logging when I've navigated around like we just did with those checkouts. It's specifically
It's like a history.
changes. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so let's say like if you needed to go back to, I mean, this is a terrible example, but if you needed to go back to that 7.9 DB,
I
you
think
could
it's a
just,
C there, but yeah,
okay,
7, 8. Yeah, here it is.
yeah. So like even though when we did previously the Git, because we're on master, when we said Git log, we didn't see it in the list, but if you do Git ref log, you will see it. You will see all these commits.
Yeah, there's the rebase right there.
Yeah, you can rebate. Yeah, you can see our true. So this is the true history.
Now, is it the newest? The most recent thing is first, and the oldest is way
Mm.
down at the bottom.
It is history. So it is a what do you call it?
Most
Uh,
recent first.
yeah, what that thing? MRU, most recently used,
Oh
or
wow.
something,
Okay.
whatever those are called. I can't remember. The Visual Studio stuff is hard to keep out of my head. But yeah, it's like whatever, like the changes. It's whatever commits or commands you've ran in Git, it saves them.
Okay.
So this is the source of truth. So if you do Git log, only shows you where that from where head is, because it's a pointer, will show you the log from that point in time. But Git ref log will show you where all the things are. And I'm sure there are tons of other commands out there, but these two were it felt like it gave me a fighting chance. And so whenever you have like your Git expert friend, because we all have the Git expert friend who are like, never, ever, ever delete your .git folder. This is why. It's not actually lost. It's just you have to know the right commands to find them again.
Yeah. Rule storage in the chat room says, coming from SourceSafe and TFS, I do prefer Git, even if you can get yourself into weird places when you're learning.
That's so true.
That's a great statement there, Rule. Thank you.
Oh yeah. I can't, once you start to learn how oh yeah, I'll admit it. I was using Control C, Control V, and renaming folders for my personal projects because I hadn't been on like I've been since I moved to the Bay Area. I haven't been wasn't on DevTools projects for a good like 4 or 5 years of my personal projects. I'm like, I don't have time. Who's got the time to learn something new? I just needed something well enough that works. And yeah, so when I finally decided I was going to learn Git, I did everything wrong learning Git. So I'm just trying to save people pain. But I'm so glad that I did because it's just so much nicer. Even if you're like you never, even use GitHub, as long as you're just like have an easy way to like save your work, go check out different branches, experiment with things, grab something from here. Or this is going to be more for, this would have to be like another time because there was a couple other things I wanted to show. But another one of those like light bulb moments with Git is that, let's say like this happens to me all the time. I'm coding. And I'm like, oh, I want to fix something else in another file because I just happen to see it. And now I have these two files and I'm like, oh, I don't want them all in the same commit because commits should be more atomic, or they should be more based on what was that actual change.
More purposeful around,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
These
thanks.
things are all related.
Yeah, thanks. And another like English words I could be using to describe this stuff. But that's where the idea of a working directory or git add comes into play. It's not an all or nothing operation. You can pick and choose what commits, or sorry, you can pick and choose what changes go into a particular commit. And even within the file level, there are ways to do that. It's kind of beyond what I want to talk about here today, but just be aware of there's a lot of things that you can do, and it's worth learning. You just have to know where there's scenarios that you didn't know. It's like providing a solution to a problem you didn't know you had. And that's why it's you just have to find the right person or the right training that matches what you want to learn, kind of like math. Well, what type of math are you trying to do?
Sure.
What is your problem you're trying to solve with the math that you want to learn? So,
very cool. All right.
And I wanted to go over one last thing with the visualization tool. I wanted to go over revert versus reset.
Okay, now that's an important difference, right?
Yes,
because
yeah, one's safe, the other one's destructive. It will change history.
Yeah. All right. So where should we go next then?
Type in clear. And again, this is just for this particular tool.
Okay.
This is not a git command. All right. So do git commit.
Yep.
Git commit. I'm laughing because this morning I'm like, oh, no one's going to see me at the office today. I'm just going to grab like the first t-shirt and the first hat and then run to the gym because I was running a little bit late. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I'm going to show my video.
You're fine.
Fashion's something that happens to other people.
There you go.
All right. So let's say that, okay, let's do, okay, let's say that we want to change 629. We want to pretend like 629 never happened.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to do git revert.
Git revert. All right.
629. Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. 629. There we go. So it's turning blue and all right.
So let's talk about that. So revert means we are pretending that 629 never happened. So whatever those changes were, let's say like you change the color to blue, that color change is going to go away. It uncommits it, let's say.
Okay.
So it gets rid of that change. But the way that, because again, you don't want to change history.
It's still there.
So it's still there. So it's basically you did the equivalent of if I as the developer.
Well, let me go back to the pull request you have. So we had these 7 lines that you added. The revert is basically, instead of pluses here, it's minuses.
In a way, yes, you could say it's minuses. It would be, I don't know what it's actually doing behind the scenes. If it's actually just grabbing the commit that was previous and saying this one wins, or if it's actually doing something to take those 7 and invert it. But yeah, let's just say that it gets rid of those 7 lines.
Okay.
And then, but yeah, notice the history. Like it just added a new commit.
Yeah.
Because if you're working with someone else and your history changes and you try to do a push, it's going to freak out and it's going to tell you, sorry, these are 2 different histories. It won't work with 2 different histories. So let's do an undo.
All right.
All right, and this time we're going to do a reset. And the reset is the destructive command. So we're going to do git reset and just type in -- hard. Again, this visualization tool does not have the concept of a working directory. And what that means is -- hard would delete any changes that you happen to have that are not committed to Git right now. So, but anyways, let's just type in 629 again.
All right, 629.
So basically, in the context of the tool, we're doing git reset 629. Okay, so now what has happened is, let's look at, so it's basically rewound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And so then 25A is basically gone, because if you do a git log, so type in git space log.
All right.
You see it's not there, right? And but if you do a git rough log, this is where git rough log is like really powerful. You can still see 625. And so in case you need to bring it back.
Yeah, there it's right there. Okay.
Yeah, so this is why git reset is bad, because now do a git commit. So we've done something and now we go to push. That's a totally different history than what you had before with the revert. So again, if you're just local on your machine, it's totally fine, But once you start sharing the history with someone else and you're working off of once you push, you don't want to change history. You can't change history. So again, these are just things to keep in mind when you hear about safe versus destructive actions.
Okay.
And so that's the difference between git revert and git reset. Because from the command line, I had no, I was like, I do not know what's going on. But from the visualization tool, it's like, oh, okay, I have a fighting chance now.
Okay. So is there a way now to save what was in 2.5a?
I think what you could do, you could always check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was thinking about this morning. I don't know off the top of my head. Maybe one of the readers would know, but so, if you needed to grab that code, you could by checking out the file and having the code. I know there's got to be a way to maybe you. Oh, actually, go like where you're at right now. I think you can do git cherry pick 2.5a. Let's figure it out together.
Git cherry, is it like that? I've never used cherry pick. I've always wondered what this does.
Dash pick. Pick.
Oh my gosh. Look at that. See, that's how I haven't used it.
2.5a.
2.5a. All right.
And so in theory, that should have taken the commit and added it back.
Okay.
So, and I'm sure there's ways to do it. But this is probably what I would do if I got into like this state, because I know that this state would work. But that's cherry pick. If you have a commit anywhere, and you just want to take that diff, those changes, and apply it to immediately where you're at, you would use cherry pick.
Okay. Now, Space Shot, that's our friend Chris in the chat room, is saying that we could also do a git checkout with a branch command on there and point to that.
Oh, and then merge the branches.
So he's suggesting if we do git checkout -b, let's call it rescue, and 2.5af.
Oh.
And now I've got a new branch.
Oh. And I did not know you could do that. No, there we go.
Look at that, right?
I learned something new today.
All right.
Okay, and then you could probably like do a merge or whatever.
Oh yeah, right.
So then, okay.
Go back to master.
I think I did see this.
Git merge rescue.
Yeah.
And we're in.
All right. And then speaking of that website, there was another website I had for when it's like, oh no, I've done something.
Yes. There's the oh darn git.
I was being good.
We're trying to be family friendly, but
I know I have this thing because I used to sail as a in junior high in high school, and I have this thing, if I can't use bad words, because once I say it, once I start, like the bit gets flipped, and then it's like I might as well be out on the sailboat. So that's my rule, is like I just don't say bad words, because once that bit is flipped, it is flipped.
Yeah.
So this is a great site. If you don't know about the site, it's wonderful. But the other thing is like, look for the there it is. I accidentally committed something to master that should have been on a new branch. So now you can actually go back to the visualization tool, and then, or not you, but like in general, you can go to the visualization tool and now use these commands so that you can visualize what is actually happening. So it's no longer just magic. You can see, oh, this is what it's doing.
So let me just step through these 3 steps because they seem really easy, right? Git branch some new branch name. So let's, right, if I wanted to move this off somewhere else, git branch somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then it was git reset head tilde hard.
Yeah, and the head tilde just means head -1, like the previous one.
Right, so it moved back 1. All right, and then the last thing is git checkout some new branch name.
Yes. And then it's like, oh, I get it now, because the commit stayed. You're just changing pointers.
Right.
Git is all about pointers.
Yeah, we moved master somewhere else.
You just pointed master to somewhere else, and the way that you tell Git to move things around is like wherever that head pointer is. That's where the commands are going to be executed.
Space Shot makes a great point here. The labels move, the commit graph is immutable.
Yes, exactly.
That's a great point.
Yes, because in your head, when you're coming from other types of source control, it's the code that's moving, not in Git.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like it takes a bit. It takes a bit. You have to unlearn it. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. If you ever have to do like you want to what's the command when you want to get back to when you check out a file because you're like, okay, I'm playing with a color scheme and you're like, oh, okay, I didn't like this color scheme and I don't remember what it was previously. So you do git checkout dash dash and then the file name. You can't do it in this tool because it doesn't have a concept of a working directory, but it's something like git checkout dash dash and then the file name. The reason for the dash dash, I forget it's like if it's 2 or 3 dashes, is to differentiate this is not a branch, this is actually a file name. And it was like, oh, it was like dental floss. Like when someone explained it to me, it was like, oh, thank you. It's like that annoying thing in the back of my, like when the popcorn stuck in my teeth. It's like, oh, finally. It's like I just want things to make sense. Like I don't need to agree with it. I just need to understand the why behind it.
Yes, yes. So,
yeah.
All right.
Anyways, let's see what. Let's go back to the. So that's probably it for the visualization tool that I had.
Okay.
Let's talk about GitHub, the website. I had a few things I wanted to go over.
Okay. So I will go back to here where we were looking at the pull request.
Yeah, and then scroll down a bit. Let's see which ones I added. Okay, so I have a talk that I gave several times last year and while I was at GitHub. What I learned about Git and GitHub after working at GitHub. And it's like about like an hour long, but it's just all the demos in case anyone wants to see. And yeah, it's like, I swear, imposter syndrome. You look up the word in the dictionary and it's like my picture. I swear,
No. Come on now.
You don't. No, don't get me started. I can hold my own in this conversation about imposter syndrome. But a couple of things I wanted to call out is there's a way now in GitHub. It was shipped last year that if you want to keep your email address private and you don't want it accidentally committed to Git logs on GitHub when you push. There is a checkbox that I think it's on the email page, and there's a checkbox that says it should be above the fold that says block any commits that expose my email address. So if you've chosen to keep your email address private and you're not using, like it happens to all of us, you get a new laptop, you forget to update your username or your user email in Git and so you're not using the no reply. It will, when you do it, like the git push, it will stop it and you'll get an error saying that, like, hey, you've said, you have an email address in here that you said don't have it exposed on GitHub. And so if you don't want your email address, set that and you can use the no reply that's in the paragraph above it on that website, on the page.
Just real quick, I want to thank Aaron Rawls for subscribing. We'll make sure that's another donation out there to Girl Develop It that will match and make sure that women and underserved minorities can learn how to code also. Thanks so much for doing that, and thank you, Sarah, for letting me interrupt there for a second.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Actually, click on the page that you're at right now. Click on the commits, the A commit.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
And then click on one of the commits, like on the ID.
Over here.
Click on that.
All right.
Is that the way I want to go? And at the end of the URL, I didn't show you this one yesterday. I just think it's interesting. If I have, and then scroll all the way to the right. Okay, type in right there at the end .patch, P-A-T-C-H.
P-A-T-C-H. Okay.
Hit enter.
Ooh, look at that.
And so if you're ever curious, hey, is my email address? Yeah. And this one I did good. I'm using the user no reply.
Okay.
But so this is if you were going to send I think the command is if you were going to send a patch, this is how it would look, but you could just add the .patch at the end of a GitHub URL. I just happened to find out about this while I was there, so that was there might be other use cases for this, but I liked how you can just verify, is my email there. Yeah. So
Yeah, this looks like if I was going to email in my changes, if I was submitting my
right.
changes by email, it would be in this format.
And I just happened to find out that, oh, you can put that patch at the end of a GitHub URL, and you can see of a commit and ID and see it more about it.
That's very cool.
So yeah, and so go back to GitHub itself,
All right.
like that previous page. Go to just click on Imposter Syndrome Walkthrough. I just want to go to the main repository with all the files.
Sure.
Oh, just click there. Perfect. Okay, now type in ship ?
Ship ? Just anywhere?
Yeah. Yes, like on the page. Just make sure it focuses on the page.
All right. Get out of the text
not
box.
in the search. Yeah.
Nope, it keeps going back into the search.
Oh, weird. Just ? Maybe.
All
There
right.
you go. Yeah. So if you type in ? GitHub has a ton of keyboard shortcuts. And you can find them all, but just type in a ? And one of I want to just call out two real fast. So hit escape or close this guy.
There we go.
Yeah. So type the letter T.
All right.
And this is like typing type ahead search. So that's just the lamest example. Actually, go back to my my main repository, and
Sure.
or my thingy, my username, and then we go to repository. Or actually, no, I don't have it. Click on repositories. I don't have it pinned, and scroll down a bit. Look for your moment of GitHub Zen. Hopefully it's that.
Let's just search for
site.
Zen.
Yeah.
There it is.
That also works. And I just literally talked about search. Okay, now type in T.
And now I've got type ahead to.
Yeah, now you can type in like main dot. Yeah, and you can see it as a type ahead selection.
Okay.
And then click on this file.
Sure.
All right.
So now I can see all the contents. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that's really common to do, and it could be just by accident, is like, oh, you're on this file, and so you want to send this file to someone else, and so you copy the URL. But notice in the URL how it says master.
Yeah.
Side. And what that means is like when we start with master can change. You accept a pull request, you make changes, and what you might be saying something about line 3. By the time that they get the URL or like some time goes by that they look at it, line 3 might be something totally different.
Sure.
And what you want is like a permalink to the actual commit itself. And you can get that from a keyboard shortcut. Type in the letter Y as in yellow.
Okay.
And now look how the URL has changed.
Oh,
it's
wait
now
a sec.
pointing into the actual commit ID.
Okay.
And so this is not going to change. This is pointing to that the file contents in that commit ID.
That makes sense.
So so that's a good tip to know. And then let's just wrap it up on talking about
talk about the pull request.
Actually, let's talk about blame since we're right here.
Okay.
That's why I'm like going through my cheat sheets. Every talk I give, I go through like 50 pages of white paper. Like it's just I have to write out my talk, and I keep writing it out until I'm tired of writing. So it gives me the fewest amount of words possible to convey my message. That's my system. It works for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so blame. I hate the word blame. I despise it because it sounds like I am blaming you, and I don't like it.
It feels negative. Yeah.
I mean, what else are you doing if you're going to click on the word blame?
Right.
So anyways, but click on it, and we're actually not blaming anyone. It just basically tells me what is the history of this line of code, or what I might say is, then it's like, okay, Sarah, come up with a better name. And the only thing that's close that I could come up to is pedigree. Like, what is the pedigree of this code? But
okay.
I don't know. But that's kind of the concept. It's like, where did this code, when was this code last changed? So if you look at line 3 here,
yeah, right here,
you see these constants that I was adding to this Electron app that I wrote. And if you click on the thing to the left where it's
this little doodad.
Yeah. And then you can roll back but it shows you, okay, this is what it looked like previously. And you can
Mm.
click, like you see, there's only 3. And then if you click again, you'll
Yeah.
see that there's only 2 constants in there.
Okay.
So that's blame. It basically tells you, show me when this file was changed.
Mm.
Um,
Okay. Okay.
and then the last thing is, yeah, go back to the pull requests where the links are.
Oh, yep.
Or
Over here.
yeah, your guy. All right. So scroll back up to the top. And I just want to talk, like, again, conceptually, like some of the things that I did not get. So click on conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So one of the things that it took me a while to realize is that a pull request is not the end. It's actually the start of a conversation. So it's not like, oh, I submitted my homework, I can't make changes now. It's actually the start. It's almost like, think about like either like a Word document or a Google Docs where you're making revisions or you're making comments.
Hmm.
That's very much a pull request. So think about if you needed to comment on someone's code or README, you wanted to like make changes or whatever, those changes have to be stored somewhere, and that somewhere would be like in your own repository or in a different branch if you had commit rights. Since I don't have commit rights to your repository, that's why it's on Sara Ford :patch-1. That's just like the default that GitHub gave it. But again, it's like the big, if you take nothing else away from pull requests, think of it as is the start of a conversation. So even though it says add Git links here, I can still go back to my branch
To your
and
branch here.
yeah, where I had forked it, and I can continue to make changes.
Okay.
And that's just the thing, just to like that was, and then we can have a conversation, kind of like if we were talking about Word doc or Google Docs or wherever, where if we were going to leave a comment on the side of the document, the comments would be in here in the pull requests. So
That makes
just so
sense.
remember, it's not like over. You can still make changes. You can still have a conversation, just like we saw in the visualization tool. Like we had branches, and we could continue to make changes to that branch. It's not like, oh, it's locked into that point in time. It's locked into what the branch is pointing to, if that makes any sense. But just know it's not final. You can still make changes. You don't have to like cancel the pull request and then go and make updates to your branch and then start a new pull request. That's not the point. The point is to start the conversation, and you can
So
continue to make changes.
let's talk about that conversation here for a second. How do I know, right? What's the good practice so that I, as the repository owner that you've submitted the request to, how do I know when this is ready for me to accept?
Yeah, I forget who said it, but someone said that all software problems are people problems,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about communication. It really, truly is.
Oh yeah.
And one of the ways to communicate that you're working on this, that I've seen teams do or groups do, is they'll put WIP in the title of the pull request. So if you scroll up,
Uh, up here.
yeah, like where I have added links, like you could edit that right now, yeah, and type in WIP at the front.
And then when they're done, remove the
Yeah, and
WIP.
so that kind of like it depends on like
Ah.
it depends on the communication style that has been established by either the open source repository or your own internal teams, how
Okay.
you want to work. But again, it's not like these are like magical cure-all tools. It's just a tool. It's if you have communication issues, it's only going to like bubble it up to the surface. It's more you're still forced to talk.
Okay.
Um, and so yeah, that's like it's yeah, that's what I was saying about the all software problems are people problems. I wish I knew who said it, but it is not for me. But yeah, so you still have to say, hey, I want to show you, this is what I'm working on. I'm not quite done yet. Is this something that you're interested in? If not, let me know, or whatever changes you need me to make, let me know earlier rather than later. Again, it's about communication. And so this is one of the ways you could do, and then you could also say, okay, I'm done. Let me know. Let me know your thoughts.
So let's finish up here as I get ready to
Yeah.
merge this commit. Can we talk about the difference between these 3 different options? Squash and merge, create a merge commit, rebase and merge.
Okay, so going back to that visualization tool,
Hmm.
create a merge commit. Um,
I think I may have closed it. I think.
uh, uh,
Yeah, I
uh,
did.
okay, yeah, let's just like if you could bring it. It
Bring it
basically,
back
if
up real
you
quick.
want to see, how much time we got?
We're
It basically, well, okay, it basically it just what do you want the line to look like? Do you
okay.
want to show that, hey, you merged this in from my branch? Do you want this to be a rebase where it's just like linear as a there was never a merge that there was never a merge. That's why it's like it's so much easier to visualize it. But it's basically up to you as um, the
The
uh,
maintainer.
the maintainer how you want your tree to look.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, there's like it's six in one half, half a dozen in the other. Like before, like rebase and squash were not. I can't remember if those were options or not, but use it. If it doesn't matter to you, then just use the default.
The squash and merge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And squash is interesting too when you get into like interactive rebases. And let's just say like, oh, you've been going along and you have like 5 or 10 commits for one single day, but you don't want to push all 10 commits. You want to kind of have like only 1 or 2 commits for your day. And so you can use the squash command to
Make it
push
into just
those,
one.
yeah, just into 1 or 2 or whichever ones you want. But yeah, this is far beyond like basic stuff.
Oh yeah.
But as a maintainer, I mean, like if you're just doing pull requests, yeah, if you just use
And there it
the
is.
defaults, it doesn't it the for something like this, yeah, it's up to you.
Very cool. All right. Well, thanks so much. That puts us right at time. Look at that. Hit the time perfectly.
Uh,
And
um,
I see a couple folks in the chat room saying they really learned a lot here. Tian Isla is saying lots of light bulb moments for me.
oh, great.
Terrific. That's
Okay,
great.
that was my goal. If I can help one other person, you know, save their coffee mug, like me, it was worth it. So I'm glad.
Absolutely. Very cool. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, and I'll catch you next time. I'm going to start getting ready for our next pair
Yeah.
programmer here.
I can't believe you're doing this for 9 hours.
Oh, we're going to keep doing this. We've got
All
plenty
right.
more to go. I think Mads Torgerson is up next, if I've got my
All right.
calendar right. So,
All
thanks so
right.
much. We'll catch you next
Take care.
time.
Take care.
See you, Sarah. All right. Let's go back to just me.